Yo, what's going on, guys? We're back, and today we got a brand new video talking about investing and 3 ways that you can go about investing in how the markets are right now, and just kind of the ways I've been going about it. There's the methods I've been using. I've been involved in all 3 of these that I'm going to say, so I think that's important to at least be practicing what you're preaching a little bit, but we're going to just jump right into it. These are 3 ways to invest in 2020, in the weird ways we're in and how the markets are going. We just need to stick to a strategy. And the most important part about investing before we jump into this is consistency. So everybody thinks you got to be like a genius, or you got to be super smart and knowing what you're picking. But the big key is getting a strategy and being consistent with money put in every month, week, 2 weeks, whenever you get paid, picking an amount that you can afford to put in and continuing to do that so that you can buy, when their stuff's down, continue building your portfolio and not be stuck at something where you put money in at one point and just kind of never look at it again. But we're going to jump right into this. The first way to grow in 2020, to invest, is obviously you can go down the lazy growth path, to call it that, because it's really no work required, nothing to worry about. You don't have to pick stocks. You don't have to pick different trading theories or trading ways. You don't have to trade stocks. You just have to go into index funds and ETFs and just ride that growth, which has been great over the past year, 5 years, 10 years of these different types of the charts you can look at. I have it on my phone here. It's going to be on screen, but is the Vanguard Total Stock Market ETF, is one of the ETFs I'm in. This one is basically an ETF or index fund where it's the entire market. So it's like 3,000 companies that is in this ETF. ETFs and index funds are a good way to invest your money and just have it be distributed amongst a bunch of companies. In this case, it's over a few thousand companies to safely, invest your money. And you can see on this 5-year chart, this is what I can pull up on Robinhood here, but you can look all the way back and it's up still 35% over 5 years, and you can see the Rona dip here that has eaten kind of a lot of this profit, but it's still, you see this huge dip, but still over this long term, you're still making money. You can still buy in, and on this big dip, you can buy in at better prices, maybe up the amount you're buying a little bit while the prices are low, and make even more money on these dips. So that is one way to look at it on these, but it's basically a way to invest your money with no real needing to do research or like due diligence, look up stocks, revenue reports, and go through all of these different company things that affect stock prices. And you can just put it in this and just go from there. So another ETF for Vanguard that a lot of people are in. I'm not in this one myself, but this is an S&P 500 one. So obviously it's the S&P 500. It goes off of those companies. So this one isn't as big as the Vanguard Total Stock Market Fund. It is just S&P, but it's still 39% growth. You can see the dip here again, and it's just not even something that you have to know everything about. You can buy in every month, week, when you get paid. You can do something and just pick an amount. I know in Robinhood you can buy fractional shares, so you don't even need the $271 of this stock to be able to buy a share. You can just put in $50, $100 and get partial shares, and it'll still grow at the same rate. So the second way to grow your investments and invest in 2020 is going to be the blue chip dip, is what I call it. This is pretty much over, but we could see it happen again, so it is something to consider getting into. But when the big fall happened, the big drop, and people were extremely scared of what was going on in the market, as you should be, but this is when I took the chance to buy many stocks at discounts because they were just so undervalued in my opinion once they hit those weird like rock bottom prices and after the scare of everything started. So I mean, I was able to double my shares in Apple, get into Disney, Microsoft, all these big companies at way low prices, and right now Disney is paying off hugely because they are just rocketing up today. It's a good day in the market. So we'll see what tomorrow has, if this is a sustainable movement or if it'll come back down. But this is a big thing that I think a lot of people should be getting into right now. Well, prices are down and prices are friendly to get into. Now, the prices have kind of recovered since then, since the original scare, but there's a lot of people talking about a second crash or down wave. So if that is to happen, this is a big strategy that I'll go back into, and I think everybody should have on their radar to be able to get into these big companies because they're not going anywhere. Apple isn't going anywhere. Microsoft isn't going anywhere. Disney will be around for the foreseeable future. So even with Disney in themselves, their parks being closed and people being afraid of the revenue from that, I still just think as long as you're looking towards the long term, that is the play. And just like Warren Buffett said, you should never bet against America. So as long as you aren't worried about tomorrow and you can look forward to a few years from now, 5 years, 10 years, and I think it'll just pay dividends to be able to get into these stocks, these big companies that aren't going anywhere anytime soon, and to kind of secure your position in them at a good price while they're down. And it's just the best time to buy them is when they're down, and when they were down 30% and stuff. So hopefully at that time you took advantage of it. If not, if there's another downturn, you can take advantage of it by that time. And thirdly, the last investing kind of way that I have on my radar for 2020 is going to be a little unconventional one. We're going to move away from the stock market and into cryptocurrency. That is number 3 here. I think it's a big play to have Bitcoin. I think everybody should have Bitcoin and a little portion of Bitcoin just because it is an asymmetric investment. I think that's the word. But it means there's a lot, way more upside than there is downside. To whereas if you put in a few $1,000s in Bitcoin now, the result could be 100x, could be a few $100,000 worth of Bitcoin in the future, to whereas the risk would be losing a few $1,000s. But that amount that you could make is so high and just so ridiculous that the amount you'd lose is dwarfed by if it is to do that. So that's the thought there. Plus Bitcoin, I personally think there's a future for Bitcoin. I know crypto is a touchy subject for some people, and I've recently kind of changed my own thinking here with crypto and Bitcoin, because I still have Litecoin, many Litecoin, but I'm probably going to stop buying altcoins altogether, just because I've been listening to people talk about Bitcoin and investing in crypto and everything. And one of the big points is with altcoins is Bitcoin is like the coin. It's the originator. It is going to be crypto, and it is the coin that everybody wants, should have, and is going to be the future of this whole thing. But altcoins are very attractive to people because of the prices could be lower. There could be a lot of money to be made there. But when you look at different altcoins, if you buy an altcoin and you make more USD, meaning you make more dollars from it, but you make less Bitcoin from it, you're actually a loser. You didn't get, Bitcoin, which is what everybody wants, because your Bitcoin value went down while your dollar value might have went up. So if that makes sense, it's kind of a weird way to look at it, but Bitcoin is what everybody wants. So if you're making less Bitcoin in comparison, then you're losing out on profits or money or just your portion of Bitcoin in general. So I've kind of turned into buying only Bitcoin at this time, probably away from altcoins for good. Although I'm just going to hold what I have in altcoins and just see what happens with them. But I'm definitely turned towards Bitcoin instead. So that was the 3 ways of investing for 2020, the top 3 that I have, that I've been practicing myself and going about doing it that way. The big thing about investing is consistency, is making sure you're putting in money every month, every week, something that you can afford to do. to make sure you're buying your averages down or dollar cost averaging in, or continuing to build that portfolio so in the future it can continue to grow more wealth instead of being stuck at growing a certain percent. Like if it's 2%, it's growing is good, but if that money that you're putting in isn't growing, isn't a bigger amount, then that 2% is kind of meaningless. 5% is meaningless. So it's a big deal to have more money in and consistently in than it is to put a bunch of money in at once and kind of see what happens. And if you look back at the stock market and even Bitcoin, the last like 10 years of Bitcoin have been just a positive trajectory. And if you take any 20-year period from the stock market, it's always returned positive results. So that is just always looking towards the long term is the best way to do it. And not being emotional when you see these big downturns like we saw with this COVID scare, and just kind of taking it from there. So let me know what you guys are doing, what kind of investing you guys are doing. Are you buying blue chip stocks while they're cheaper like I did mostly? Are you getting into Bitcoin? And are you continuing to invest in the market at this time and kind of see where things go? Because it is a very volatile market and super unpredictable, but that's the world we live in right now. So guys, don't forget to comment, like this video, and smash that sub button. We are on the path to 1,000 subscribers, and I'll see you guys in my next video.